Will Axie Origin save the SLP economy? Will there be new ways to earn in Axie Infinity Origin? In today's video, I'll give you my analysis and how you can make a profit by trading runes and charms. But first, here is a way you can start earning more SLP today with the Tactor app. This awesome app helps you improve your gameplay drastically with functions like the energy counter, which has an in-game overlay so you can track your energy as you play. They also give you a damage calculator so that you can calculate the exact damage output of your team. And finally, you can also use the card explorer to increase your knowledge of the game. This app is safe and easy to use and is basically ensured to improve your gameplay. So thank you for the sponsor of today's video, Tactor app. To download the app, use the link in my description. Now, there are three main factors that will make a difference to the SLP economy. Now, remember that it is Sky Mavis' intention to finally start using a substantial amount of marketing budget once Axie Infinity Origin is officially released. Now, I actually did a video where I tried to explain that I think that this marketing budget might accumulate to 30 million new players, and I actually sent out a tweet to Sky Mavis' head of marketing, and he actually replied saying that their targets are close to what I estimated it to be. Before you get too excited, remember that Axie Infinity will allow players to play the game for free. So although 30 million players might be coming, that might not necessarily mean that all of them will be paying customers. So I'm going to assume that the growth will be an average of what we have seen over the past 6 months. This is important because I'm going to use that as our base for all the other calculations that I'm going to be doing. So in Origins, they will change your amount of energy to stamina, and the amount of stamina you have is now also different from the current way of how it works. Now you will need 6 Axies to achieve 20 stamina, where having 3 will give you about 11, around about 13 Axies will give you 41 stamina, and you will need a reduced 19 Axies to achieve the maximum 60 stamina. Now, I looked at the stats, and about 75% of the active player base only have 3 Axies in their account currently, which in Origins will mean that they will only have 11 stamina to play with. Now, I know that there are many Axies not being utilized currently and are probably sitting in the accounts of guild owners. I'm assuming that the top 25% will be unaffected by these changes. But for the scholar player base, or most of the 75% that only have 3 Axies, I'm going to assume that half of those will actually get the additional Axies they need to play for the same amount of energy or stamina that they have right now. And as you'll see, over the average of these past 6 months, per month, 361 million SLP is being minted, whereas only about 40.3 million SLP is being burned each month. After applying some calculations with weighted averages, it seems like the SLP minted per month will be reduced to 311.5 million, which is about a 14% reduction. Now let's look at the amount of SLP being burned each month. As you all know, with Axie Infinity Origin, one of the biggest new things is the ability to equip runes and charms to your Axies. You can collect moon shards in-game to craft these runes and charms. But if you'll see the screen, you'll notice that there's a little SLP icon right there. Now, after tweeting out to the Sky Mavis account again, asking for some clarification on this, moon shards will stay, and that is the way that you craft your runes and charms to be used in-game. But if you want to change a rune or charm that you have into an NFT, then you will use SLP and moon shards to craft that one. Now, why is this important? Well, number one, there will be a whole new market for runes and charms where you can sell those to other players. Players are now crafting random runes and charms in the hope for that one mystic that you really want. There will be a marketplace where some buyers will actually go and pay Ethereum, AXS, or maybe even more SLP to get the exact rune they want for their team. This will mean that there's another stream of income for Axie Infinity players, and that is basically rune and charm farming. The second important point is that there will actually be SLP burned in order to craft these NFT runes and charms. So I drew up this table to do some calculations on what I expect the amount of SLP will be that will be burned in the creating of these runes and charms. At the current base, we have about 2.86 million active players, and we know that most of these are scholars who will probably not spend SLP on crafting runes and charms, but some actually might. I'm going to make an assumption about 10% of the player base will be spending on average 200 SLP on creating runes and charms. Now, I actually think this is a very conservative estimate, but it is basically impossible to predict how much that's going to be at the moment. But let's for a moment suppose that it is an accurate estimate. This will mean that on average, an additional 57.2 million SLP will be burned each month, which gives us a final mint to burn rate of about 311 million SLP being minted against 97.5 million SLP being burned. So there's still a great disparity, but this is actually fantastic news, because if we look at the average over the past 6 months, it seems that it almost triples the ratio at which SLP is being burned versus being minted. Now, to be honest, I don't know exactly what effect this will have on the SLP price. It will definitely make the price go down slower, but with an influx of a bunch of new players and new Axies that need breeding, we actually might see the price also rising. Also, remember that runes and charms are actually seasonal, so after every season we will have a new batch of runes and charms that need crafting. So the SLP burn that they're introducing now is probably going to be quite sustainable and just another part of the game like breeding. But even better news is that they are preparing for even more burn mechanics to join Axie Infinity Origin. And if we take a look at this roadmap, it seems that the two most important ones will be in-app purchases and Axie body part upgrades. Now, I'm assuming that SLP will be one of the currencies at least that you can use to purchase in-app or to upgrade your Axie's body parts. All in all, I think this is really great news for the SLP economy and for Axie Infinity Origin in general. But I want to hear from you. Let me know in the comments below what you thought about my analysis, if there's any details I missed, or maybe you have another way to even do more accurate predictions. Thanks for watching, everyone.